Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the winner bracket final of the SECS tournament. This has been awesome games thus far, and I'm looking forward to see how Eosin+4 performs up against Team Almost Good that we've been casting in this tournament so far. But I, myself, and BlazeCasting, up-and-coming Dota 2 caster, has been having a lot of fun in the past few rounds of this tournament, and thank you for tuning in. But I also have not to mention my buddy, Rainmaker, who is casting with me today. How are you going?
Oh man, I am having an absolutely fantastic time today. That game, that last game, was one of the best Dota games I've had the pleasure of watching. Fantastic. And I'm really excited to see how it will shape up. Do you want to take a little bet, okay? They're going to not ban out, they're going to ban the Bat Rider, leave the Bounty Hunter, and try to pick it up.
Oh, no, they're going to ban the TA. They always do Dark Series TA and pick up the Bounty Hunter, but I do agree with you with the Gondor pickup. Unless Eosin+4 wants to ban it out for themselves, it's definitely going to be the first pick, just because that's what they've been doing whenever they get the first pick option. But holy crap, that last game, dude. It was crazy. I honestly didn't think they had it in them, and then those last team fights, I was just going like 400 words per minute. But came out in the end. Getting on to the next game, there's the Bounty Hunter pickoff to start off Team Almost Good's draft. They're going to play him on the off lane, probably going to be picked up by Hyorin or Snowheart Hyorin. To go presumably on the top lane here, but they might want to go for the aggressive tri lane. They've done that a couple of times and it's worked out very effectively for them. The question is, will we see this Sven Undying picked up once more?
Yeah, you know, one great thing about casting SECS is that we've had the pleasure to go and follow tag the entire way through. So just, I feel like, you know, we're getting kind of, oh, but there's just Sven Undying. Okay, so Jakiro Rubik, is that what comes next?
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally. It's exactly what's gonna. No, I mean they did different. I think they did the Quap once, and you know that kind of thing. But we'll have to see. But yeah,
I think that we'll see a Jakiro though. I think that's a pretty safe bet that we'll see a Jakiro. But no, just being able to go and see them play and kind of get like, you know, an understanding of like not just the heroes they're picking, but why they're picking them up, how they kind of want to use this bounty hunter. They always are looking for, you know. It seems like they're not worried about their carries getting a lot of farm early. They're like, we'll pick that up somewhere. You know, just let's make sure that we have good lanes. We got a Chikiro, Enigma, okay.
Interesting,
so
very interesting.
I think they want to make sure that it doesn't get banned out because it's a pretty big part of their strat if this goes. But that Wisp is going to be a nightmare for Sven. Wisp is one of the most irritating things to play against in Dota right now.
Yeah,
so
very, very strong. One thing to mention is the Tether's not that great at counteracting the Enigma ultimate. I mean, you could theoretically run all the way around to play Tether Ball with the Sven and try to lock down, clothesline that Enigma, but generally speaking, it's not going to be easy to stop the Black Hole with that, so they're going to be very reliant on Sven and on whatever heroes they pick up after the fact. But nevertheless, I completely agree with you. Sven Wisp, so very aggravating to go up against anytime you step out on the field, especially if Wisp wants to pick up some dust. That Bounty Hunter or anybody is going to be having a very difficult time of it. I expect Jakiro will either be thriving, or it's going to be one way or the other. It's going to be thriving in the lane, dominating really, really effectively, or he could be at an extremely low level based on the gank potential of the Sven Wisp. So a lot of momentum there. The Undying, possibly going for a tri-lane of Undying, Sven, and Wisp. I have seen Wisp played in a solo mid-roll, but more likely they are just securing their tri-lane to try to go up against this. But the Enigma, like I've mentioned before, is, since he generally jungles and isn't that effective until level 3 or 4, does weaken their tri-lane just a little bit if they're going to be going for Jakiro plus carry, and that might be the window of opportunity that Eosin's looking for to try to get a first blood.
Yeah, one thing about Wisp though is he doesn't actually offer that much to an aggressive tri lane, so it's a little, because he doesn't have, you know, any really great slow, and Tether's good, but you know the stun's not exactly reliable. So I wouldn't be too surprised to go and see like them safe lane it and just get levels on the Wisp, get levels on the Undying, and then when they hit level 6, go and be hyper aggressive around the map. But you know, Undying is probably at best in an aggressive tri lane, so it's kind of interesting to see them kind of balance the Wisp weaknesses with the Undying strengths. On the other hand, the bans, the Disruptor and the Chaos Knight, I feel are just very solid, because it gives Chaos Knight especially gives them a lot of early game presence that will help them counteract the kind of, you know, surprise from the Sven and Wisp.
Absolutely.
But what do you think about the Invoker ban? Or do you think it's actually necessary here?
Not at all. It's kind of weird. I definitely agree with the Lush Track and the Venomancer potentially just because they want to go for some, like, the Enigma actually getting some extra experience and try to go for some early supportive AoE action. I mean, Leshrac really, really strong with that Pulse Nova. Actually thinking of the wrong team. I'm all out of funk after the last game. I swear it'll take me like 5 minutes to get in on this because I'm all over the place from that last one. Okay, the ban out the Eosin. I don't know why they're banning out supports, honestly, because they already have the Wisp and the Undying, which are generally played supportively. They should be banning out solo mids. Leshrac at one point was a solo mid hero, but not so much in the current meta, especially with that nerf to the Edict taking longer to get off, and therefore a 1v1 kill not really as likely. But the Invoker ban, it's alright. It's rather effective just for the global aspect. Sven and Wisp combined together, they jump across the map, and who's to help them out across from all the way from the fountain or something like that? There's going to be a Zord Invoker sitting down some stun strikes on top of the stun to add that much extra burst to it. But that's not going to be an option for them. It is banned out. As well, the Disruptor, the Chaos Knight, and the Queen of Pain have all been banned out. And all those heroes can be played in a number of roles. This Chaos Knight can be played as the carry for a team almost good, and then Queen of Pain can be played for the solo mid. But however they want to go for it now, they've all been taken off the board, and now we're kind of seeing what Tag wants to do to kind of go up against this Sven Wisp. Something that needs, what they really need is survivability and some way to help out people at long distance. I'm not exactly sure how they want to draft that though.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see who they're going to go for as in solo mid. One option that they have, which, you know, again, it's very non-standard, but okay, Night Stalker is a good one. But I was about to say, yeah, that's actually fantastic. It's going to give them a lot of early aggression, going to kind of go and wreak havoc on that Wisp, and just can run away as well. Like, it gives them a lot of power. Coddle, this is weird. Their lanes are going to be really interesting. They might be long laning the Coddle, I suppose. That's the only way that really makes a lot of sense right now, unless they go for some 2-1-2.
They could go for some 2-1-2, but also you could see either the Wisp or the Keeper go for the solo mid. Both of them can do pretty well in their own right. They're not played nearly the same way. Like solo Wisp is completely different than support Wisp, but both of them are very prominent. And that will be meaning an early mechanism, which will help out a lot against this Bounty Hunter and the Night Stalker. But I really do love that Night Stalker pickup. What I was just saying was they need something that is very durable, that doesn't get picked off by himself, but also adds a lot more map presence. Not necessarily lane presence, that's great if you can get it, but the big deal here is Sven and Wisp all over the map. You have to have somebody who can jump in and help out, and if you can make this Sven miss 40% of the time, or silence any one of these big spellcasters, it's going to be a pretty big deal there. It can catch people off really effectively with that Void and swing the momentum in favor of Team Almost Good. Bounty Hunter tracks plus Night Stalker roaming across the map, that's going to be some dead Wisp, dead Keeper, and if they can shut down the Wisp early, assuming he is going supportive, then that's going to give Team Almost Good the opportunity to pretty much make him a non-factor. Every time the Wisp tries to make big plays, he'll just get chopped down really, really quickly before he can even tether away. So then they'll be practically playing 5-4.
Sweet, okay, it's awesome. Yeah, I was just thinking this the entire time that, like, what they should do is pick up a Juggernaut, because in this lineup he is actually perfect, because he is going to get that free BKB that we were looking at the negs for the last team, and what are they going to do to the Juggernaut in the mid game? Unless the spin is actually right clicking him, they have no way to go and deal with him while his spin is up. He's going to be very defensive against all those stuns in the tri lane if they tri lane against him. And just the way that Omnislash forces you to fight is he has this moment where he is basically invincible and doing a ton of burst damage. It synergizes really well with Black Hole. These quick pickoffs they're looking for with the Nightmare, the Bounty Hunter, the Jakiro. He can put out a ton of damage very quickly, farms well, has a kind of, pseudo protection in the way of his spin, and Healing Ward is going to let them push very aggressively as well, which is something Night Stalker, Enigma, and Jakiro also want to do.
Yeah.
So a little bit non-standard, but I think his entire kit fits well, and he scales, probably not as well as Sven, but he is going to be comparably dangerous in the late game.
Interesting pickup there. I definitely didn't see it coming. I was focused on what was on the field, but always you analyzing, looking ahead, and that was a good call with the Juggernaut. I definitely agree with it. Looking after the fact, looking at the fact that the Juggernauts with the Enigma, once they get some Eidolons going, the Healing Ward, and presumably if some Liquid Fire gets picked up by Jakiro, they can knock down on the walls of some towers extremely quickly, try to bring those down for some early gold. However, if they do the Keep of the Light off lane, which I think might be more possible now that they picked up the Storm Spirit, which would definitely be their solo mid. I definitely think Keeper would be a good option, just spamming out that Illuminate, Chocolate Magic himself to continuously counter push and try to hinder their aggression on that tier 1 tower right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that, sorry, I got a little bit distracted by the chat there, but sorry, but basically what is going to happen here is, this Juggernaut's going to give him that little bit of survivability, and forgive me if I repeat anything, but it's going to give them that survivability in lane that's going to they're losing because they're having an Enigma in woods, and again, like you were talking about, they can push very well. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm wondering if they're going to aggressively trial in this Sven. It seems to be kind of the flavor of this SECS, but I'm not sure it's the right decision here.
It's really interesting to see how the meta shifts out week by week with these tournaments here and see exactly what's been going on in this specific higher level amateur play. Kind of seeing what they have going on. A little bit weird swapping with branches or whatever, but they just want to utilize their inventories to maximum efficiency. So with this, Supportive Wisp is actually just picking up a couple of branches, getting some early stats to go for a Magic Wand to use that. The Magic Wand, you can use the Tether to use that to heal as well. And that's pretty effective along those lines, but Undying getting a little bit more tanky with that Stout Shield so that he can stay in the fray. And I guess that means he's going to be going on the offlane. So Undying's going to be picking up a heck of a lot of experience. And although I really like him as far as just general survivability and he's really good to get solo levels on, how do you feel as far as the counter push goes? The Tombstone can help, but do you think it's going to be enough to hold off this Enigma, Jakiro, and Juggernaut that's on the bottom, a setup shop on the bottom lane now?
I think what's going to have to happen is this Keeper was just going to have to keep a TP scroll on him, and whenever the wave comes up, just go TP down there, blast some Illuminates, and kind of deal with it that way. But they might be just running dual lanes here and just going and giving that Undying, unlimited mana to go and DK with. It's a bit strange, but I don't think that's necessarily bad, because against the Juggernaut and Jakiro, that they have not a lot of kill presence with no stuns or slows, but they can put some damage down.
Right now it's currently set up so that Guanzo is actually on the mid lane on his Sven, going for a 2-2-1 with Keeper the Light supporting him in mid up against the Night Stalker. How do you feel about that? They do not have the creep pull of the Radiant of the Easy Camp to pull to the mid. How do you feel Rorgok and Guanzo will be able to fare up against this mid?
I do not believe that Big Black is going to have a wonderful time here, because if he is going against this Coddle, that means he's not going to be able to pick up runes, and that's kind of what you want, to give you that edge. He's going to get levels, but how much farm can he really get? He's spamming Void to get creeps. If they go and just keep the equilibrium right, and Sven, just last hits well, it's going to be pretty dangerous for this Night Stalker to dance around.
Definitely.
And he is now out of mana.
Yeah, exhausted all of his voids. He's only got half a bottle as far as gold goes, and it's going to be very difficult for him as soon as they start pulling that lane back, assuming they can. I mean, Keeper the Light really good against melee heroes in general, so Night Stalker already really, really weak early game. As far as daytime specifically, it's going to make that even worse of a situation for him. And all the same, I feel like this is a winning lane on top. Eosin and... what the heck is that name? Or I'm sure it means something, but it's 04 number EHL for the moment. Anyways, as soon as they get some detection out on Bounty Hunter, he is going for that 4-man shield really quickly, only 50 gold away from that, but other than that, I think that Bounty Hunter and Night Stalker are both going to have a tough time, and it's going to be reliant on the pressure of the tower kills to try to get some gold across the board so that Bounty Hunter can be okay and get that level 6.
Yeah, I mean, Bounty Hunter's going to do fine, because really all he wants is levels. He'll probably be able to pick up boots in this lane too. I don't think they can deny him quite that badly. So I think he'll be able to kind of survive. But this mid lane is just going to be a nightmare for this Night Stalker, because he's not going to be able to spam Void to control it. He's losing all the runes. Also, another cool thing that's happening here is this Coddle is not only just checking runes and harassing in lane, but stacking the Ancient Camp. So when Sven gets those levels, I'm going to assume this Sven's actually going to go for some sort of Mask of Madness build, because otherwise you wouldn't quite be stacking quite this early. But once he gets those that Mask of Madness and that
beautiful position for Rorgok. He's going to get the Illuminate rank 1 going on through the stun. I don't think it will be enough damage to finish the job, but just beautiful positioning in general, using that invisibility rune to get a heck of a lot of damage out. And Chakra Magic fills Guanzo up to full, but as you were mentioning the stacked Ancients, look at what Wisp has been doing the entire time. He has stacked up this camp on the eastern end 3 times over. It's triple stacked and just been pulling to the easy camp and the western camp here versus Sven. Going to get a heck of a lot of farm as soon as he gets some cleave ranks going. So they're just trying to put fuel on the fire for Guanzo, trying to give him as much gold as possible really, really early on, and use the Wisp and Overcharge to just make him a monster by like 20-minute mark.
Yeah, really cute stuff here too. They're actually going and like tethering onto a creep to go and clear a camp faster. I'm not exactly sure. I've never seen that before, but I suppose if you're afraid that you can't finish the camp and you really want that experience, then it's not a bad idea. But this Storm is having a good time top, farming quite well. Highest in the game right now at 18 creeps in 3 minutes. So that 6 a minute is really what you're looking for. And the next highest farmer is also that Sven. So they're doing well controlling the mid lane, and Night Stalker, again, he's getting harassed once more.
Yeah, good amount of damage coming out there. Chakra Magic builds it up as if it never happened. Rank 2 Chakra, I love that build where you make sure that you get mana sustainability for your lane partner as well as yourself as often as possible. But yeah, like you're saying, Eosin, I've actually casted for him before sometime in the past, so I have seen these guys pretty actively, and he is just amazing last hitter. I mean, like you said, he's machine, just pretty much missing absolutely none. A couple under tower that are difficult to nab, but in general doing a really good job. Surprised to see how Undying's faring up against this Jakira, looking for an ice path now to spin, and never mind. Speaking of which, there's really nothing you can do to get out of that no boost mode, so that's going to be first play given to Crook. Was surprised that he was holding on perfectly fine for that time period, but all things must come to an end, and so he did take a fall there, and that will give some momentum for Juggernaut to put pressure on this tower, as we were talking about before. But right now, he's going for a build that does not involve Healing Ward at all. 3 points in the slashes, or the Blade Fury, and then 2 points in stats.
He just wants to make sure he has the Blade Fury combo at 6, because without that, you're not going to be able to Omni and spin. So they're just trying to go and get small edges where they can. And he's dead too.
Tether going on through, so yeah, he's definitely going to get dropped down here. Wisp actually picking up the kill, but he probably bought the Zentry, so recompense.
Bot lane, they go and try to dive on. Yeah, so the Enigma comes up, but with Malefices, the Ice Pass lands. But the Juggernaut tanks a little bit too much damage, and then with the sap from the Decay, which has been max leveled, was just enough to kill him as he goes and tanks that tower. So small victory for the Undying, who is able to go and get the experience for that kill.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot more action than I thought would be happening across the board in these lanes, but yeah, when those sentries come in, it's a completely different world up against that Bounty Hunter, and of course, Juggernaut and any reliable disabler is going to be a very powerful lane, so not just mention the push factor, but also the hero pressure factor. If he's not behind his tower, he's going to be having a rough time of things, and that's so far been the case, but he is currently level 5, not doing too bad, actually getting a lot more experience per minute compared to the Bounty Hunter, who will be getting level 6 shortly, but right now is just now hit 5 himself. He will have boots if he goes to the outpost, but that's kind of a null factor in the sense that he has been zoned out quite a bit. Storm Spirit now hitting level 7 with that kill early on, so he's doing really, really good, and I'm expecting a lot of Eosin as he looks to be opting for an Orchid as soon as he can.
Yeah, I actually used this, I believe on Mouse they used to do this a lot back when Kuroki, well, Kuroki's on the team again now, but when they first picked up Kuroki, they'd go and safe lane their Storm Spirits and just go for a really fast Orchid and try to go and pressure the game in much similar way as, for example, a Clinks would. And this Orchid is going to be pretty important in just shutting down this Enigma from Black Hole, because they don't have that many stuns. Although Storm Spirit is very good, because if you don't catch him, you can always zip behind the Enigma. The Enigma has casted his edging it and pull him out that way. But besides that, Stormbolt, that's about the only ways they have to deal with it.
Yeah, got to give a lot of credit as far as the top lane success to this Wisp pulling up. He has managed level 4 himself, and that's triple stack is now being pulled off, so that pretty much no experience from those waves is going out to Bounty Hunter whatsoever. Iron doesn't really know what to do with himself, because if he's going to go over there to try to contest it all the way back in the jungle, he's just going to get locked down pretty early on. Now, there was some nice action there. The Night Stalker, he picked up a rank in Darkness, so again, not going for the Crippling Fear, which may cost them if they really need to spell to lock down the Ball Lightning on the Storm Spirit, but one way or another, the Night Stalker missed the rune on top and had to go back and get it filled up, and that cost him a lot of time and a lot of effort as well up on top, apparently. Did you see that?
I did not catch that one at all. I was looking at bot lane because I was sure there was going to be a little bit more action there, but it looks like the Wisp got the kill. I'm not sure. It must have just been a pull. There's a fresh sentry down, so just probably out of position pull. and the Wisp probably just got a lucky attack there, and I'm sure he's happy for it because he's been playing jungle RPG for the past 7 minutes.
Sure enough. Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard Ball Lightning is pretty good for mobility, so he was able to get that initiation off and pull him down, tether after the fact. What Wisp really needs to get action rolling is get somebody that can jump behind the opposition, so a good blinker. I've actually remember a time period where Weaver and Wisp was really popular, where you could just shooky on through and get that tether stun, so that was pretty interesting. But I mean, it's just these weird little pickups. Nice stun coming out onto Night Stalker, but he is such a low life, he's just going to fall back. But that is wasting his nighttime for the time period. It's been 2 minutes of night. He's done absolutely nothing for it. 0, 0, and 0. He is looking for the top rune. He's going to get the haste and hopefully make something of it, as Eosin is pretty low mana, but we'll have to see how that works out. In the meantime, though, yeah, I definitely think that the initiation, Ball Lightning, with the Whiff Tether can really lock down anybody they want, as long as they have the sentries to support it. And Wisp picking up a Soul Ring, I honestly can say I have not seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I don't think it's particularly good, and it looks like they're going counter-initiating.
Oh, beautiful Illuminate. Black Hole completely wasted, but nice ultimate coming, relocating in. The Storm Spirit popping off the Electric Vortex, as well as a ton of damage from the Spirits. They're going to be looking to pick up the Jakiro too. Ball Lightning, he needs to break the tether to not send back the Storm Spirit. Nope, just going to bring him right back up top to farm. And that's going to be how that works out, but I don't know about the Soul Ring. I mean, there's passive regeneration included, but it doesn't really coordinate with the 1.5x heal of a tether, which he's not even currently ranking. He's going for spirits, he's going for overcharge, just to keep his mana up and sustain that. I honestly think it's just completely weird. Maybe you could explain that a little bit better to me.
To be honest, I don't play a ton of Wisp, and I've never really, I've never felt that I've desperately had problems with my mana supply. So I think that it's not very good. Like, if I had to go and just go out on a limb and say, like, I don't understand the reasoning for it, I don't think it's particularly effective, but perhaps he has found the way he's playing, you know, he's just maybe spamming spirits a lot more than I would be, and if he feels he needs the mana, Soul Ring is probably the most effective way to get it. So, strange, unusual, but I'm just going to have to say that I don't play enough Wisp to have a qualified opinion.
Yeah, I've actually, Wisp is one of my favorite heroes. He's very dynamic and has a lot of potential, but I just generally think that Bottle or Magic Wand or a Arcane Boots, especially the Arcane Boots with the Storm Spirit, who's going to be exhausting his mana supply very rapidly. I think the Arcane Boots would have been a better option, but he went for the Soul Ring, and I just think it's a little weird, but that's coming from me. I just don't play.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you, because, like, especially, like, Arcane Boots in this game would be fantastic, because you've got a Sven, you've got a Storm, you've got a Undying, so it seems like that would be the way to go. He would almost have Arcane Boots at this point too, so I've got to assume it's not just a matter of, you know, I don't have the cash, but it's more a calculated decision, which I just don't get.
Sure enough, sure enough. I'm going to need 1 minute to AFK while the pause is going on through, so just keep on with the cast, and I'm going to mute my mic real quick.
Sure, no problem. Hey guys, so then looking at this, I think one interesting thing to point out is just the relative farm. This Eosin has, you know, lived up to Blaze's description and is 48 for 15. That amount of farm means he's going to have a very well-timed Orchid, and, you know, if you get an Orchid around 12 to 14 minutes, there's not much that this heroes like Jakiro are going to be able to do to stop you. Jakiro himself is, you know, quite poor. He's got his boots and he's got a magic wand, which is, you know, okay, considering the lane he was in, and the fact that he's not died is kind of a credit, because they've been diving pretty aggressively. But he's still not quite at the farm that he needs to be to really contest against a Storm Spirit who zips in and can just take him down from full to zero with an Orchid. The same is true of the Bounty Hunter. He's died twice, he's not got any track kills going, and he's sitting at 600 HP. If he doesn't get, you know, his Django up, for example, his Django maybe I don't think he'll be opting for treads, but it might not be a terrible decision just to get a little bit more HP against his Sven and the Illuminate damage along with the Storm Spirit. So he needs to go and just find a way to tank up so he doesn't just die under Orchid. Undying, on the other hand, you know, not great farm, but he's 2 and 2. He's got level 6, and he will be having Arcane Boots pretty quickly, assuming he goes for that. And I would say that, you know, they are going to need about, with the Coddle, they kind of mitigate the amount of Arcane Boots they need, but I still think they probably want at least one pair, especially if the Coddle's in a position like right now where he's not actually able to cast Chakra Magic due to the fact that it does in fact have, you know, a mana cost. When you get to this build on Coddle, where he has 2 in Illuminate and 3 in Chakra Magic, is pretty much ideal, because this means that he will always have enough mana to go and keep himself and someone else topped off. it feels like at 2 you just never quite have enough to do that. Now, another thing is that while we were talking about the Sven going for a fast Mask of Madness to clear these camps, it seems like he is instead going for that Django and wants to be a little bit more aggressive early game. Juggernaut is going for similar items, both kind of looking to tank up and just have a bit more presence in the mid game. Now, Juggernaut's not farmed nearly as well as the Sven or the Storm Spirit. He's coming down about 10 below that, but he's had to run around the map a little bit. But I think that and his death is going to cause him to be less of a force in the mid game than he'd otherwise want to be. We were talking earlier about the fact that it kind of synergized well. The healing ward synergized well with the fact that they'd be wanting to push, but it seems like instead he has opted to Max Blade Fury and stats, which again, as we spoke earlier, it lets you cast that Omni Slash, but it means their team fights are going to be a little bit worse. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to contest this Storm Spirit who has all this farm.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the main benefit of picking up a non-pushing Juggernaut. I mean, he does have the ability to pick off in the jungle pretty effectively with the Omni, like you were kind of talking about there. But going for the Drum as a utility pickup, it kind of leaves them without a hard carry. Bounty Hunter actually disconnecting right now, hopefully getting a pause for him. But yeah, Night Stalker, Bounty Hunter, and Juggernaut, although they are all scalable to an extent that they can be considered semi-carries pretty effectively, Juggernaut a little bit more so on the carry end of it, none of them are going to be like the best hero in the world 60 minutes in the game. They need to focus on early game momentum, get a lot of gold through the track, get a gold advantage, and try to focus on the ganking. But right now, that's not really been in their favor. Tag has been knocked out a little bit with the Night Stalker being 0, 1, and 0, and Night being, I believe, 3 minutes in, so it would be almost halfway over, but Darkness will prolong it just a little bit more. Nevertheless, I think Night Stalker needs to really capitalize on the aggression, get tracks on the opposition, and get some Night Stalker Bounty Hunter kills if they're going to be able to capitalize on the way they've drafted their lineup here.
Yeah. One thing though to mention about the Juggernaut is it seems like this tournament it's all been about the Sven and the kind of countermeasures you have against him. So what Juggernaut offers you is a hero that if they aggressively tri-laned against the Juggernaut and he had the support of a twin-headed dragon, they would come out ahead. But instead, you know, they've decided to put the Sven mid, had the coddle kind of room, and just shut down their Night Stalker. So I think this kind of last pick was, or rather, the lanes weren't set up as Tag expected. And that kind of hurt them, because Juggernaut would do fare very well against a Sven tri-lane. So I think that's the logic there, and it just didn't pan out as they hoped.
More stacking action on these Ancients here. They finally didn't actually get stacked up, and now aggression will go on through where Bounty Hunter, what I was talking about before, the Night Stalker, the Bounty Hunter, finding a really low HP Coddle. I mean, he only has 2 base armor, and with that was a pretty quick and easy pickoff with the momentum. As far as knowing about it, I'm not sure if there was any stream cheating going on. I mean, obviously that was a rather prolonged pause, but one way or another they knew that he's been possibly working on that to help the Sven stack things up. Now the Illusion Rune scouting it out, and with
I mean, they have a ward. They have a ward on that cliff, so they've been seeing him go up into that high ground.
Okay.
So I mean,
relatively frequently.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got to know something's up. There's no other reason he'd be going there but to stack camps. So if they go and see him go up there, it's just a pretty easy kill. I don't think there'd be any stream cheating for that one. No, it's not really necessary.
Yeah, it wouldn't be necessary. He was moving on that ward. Good action from the support side.
Yeah. And now, one thing I'm really worried about, though, is for this twin-headed dragon, and almost more importantly, this bounty hunter, when that storm gets his orchid, they're just going to die. Like, the HP pool is just too low on both of these heroes. Because, you know, he's going to be hitting for quite a bit. Orchid, one of the things on Storm Spirit is it just gets him a ton of damage. And on top of that, he already has treads, he's got great attack speed. That silence is going to keep them. Jakira's never going to be able to get an Ice Spaz off. And while he's naturally a very tanky hero, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Getting picked off in the jungle here. He gets silenced up. Not too much more he can do. The relocate will come out to get some counter kills, but I believe T-Coney will at least take a ball. The spirits do the rest of the work, and Eosin gets the double kill for his trouble. That was a track kill on the Undying, but not really that big a deal since he has already reached his level 7. Only going for 1 point in Tombstone, but whatever. It's getting Eosin the kills that they need. So in the end, it's an exchange that I would consider unfavorable for Tag, even though that's what they need to do. The fact of the matter is it's very difficult to do because of this Wisp and his global presence.
Yeah, Wisp is really making his strength known here. It's a little bit, he doesn't, you know, he's not just like hanging around the Sven, he's actually just letting the Sven farm up, but it's more than enough to go and bring over pretty much any of the other heroes. Given that the Gondar is so weak, given that the Night Stalker is so weak, they just don't have enough to really deal with that. And Night Stalker is going for phases here, and I almost feel this is the wrong decision just because of the amount of burst damage. And oh my god, top lane.
Yeah, it was a quick pick up onto the Enigma with some nice ball lightning initiation, but now Eosin gets silenced up. He's going to drop down pretty quickly there, and Wisp doesn't really have anything he can do to pull him out. He does have the urn, which would have given him a little bit of healing, but too little too late. Nice tether on the creep will actually stun them both up, but the Void just too much slowing. He doesn't have a TP scroll. He does actually get a return kill on the Bounty Hunter, but takes the fall himself.
I mean, you know, this max level Spirits is really working out for them. It's giving that little bit of extra damage to really turn the tides in every single fight this Wisp is involved in. Normally you go and see a max overcharge, but, you know, perhaps what they're looking for isn't that kind of damage reduction, but just more burst damage.
Certainly, but now
Night Stalker's going for it now.
For Beauregard. He does get the silence off. He has already gotten out the Void. He will be doing a lot of damage with that Stormhammer. With the God Strength, there's not too much more he can do. The Warcry has already been popped to try to counter-initiate, though. Illuminate misses him, and unless Guanzo has the longest-reaching arm I've ever seen, he's not going to be able to get the Stormhammer off.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Since his Night Stalker was shut down in lane, he does not have his urn. If he had his urn up at that point, that would be a kill. And it's kind of the difference, you know, that's when we look at heroes like Night Stalker, they really snowball. So since they were able to shut him down a bit early with that roaming Coddle, with that surprise Sven mid, oh wow, this Wisp is really... That was...
Man up, but it worked out.
Yeah.
The decay come on through. Undying will pick up back kill him. Rank 1 Tombstone doing enough. Might bring him down. He cancels his tether right beforehand so that Undying can stay in the fray and get up that Jakiro kill, but it may cost him his own life as, yeah, the track is up with Blade Fury going on through. He will go right back on through the tower, but Juggernaut's going to pick up that kill and get a lot of gold for it.
Yeah, I mean, great awareness going down to pick off that Night Stalker. Definitely a trade in their favor. You know, the Wisp made sure he got out alive, and that seems a little bit cold, but, you know, they need... Trading the Undying for that extra kill on the Jakiro is, I think, worth it.
Well, but you gotta remember it's track, so 2 times over we've had an exchange where it's been 2 kills in favor of the Dire, but the one kill that they lost was a track kill. So it's the one thing is the gold is going to Bounty Hunter in a bunch of sprees now, but it looks like they're actually both going for a Drum of Endurance, which may have been viable pre 6.75, but with that base damage nerf is not really going to be a good option, especially now that they're looking at a Storm Spirit who's picked up a really major item that will actually be impactful, which is going to be the Orchid Malevolence. And now using it to initiate on bottom lane on this Night Stalker, gets hit by the Illuminate as well, but that damage just from the Orchid itself will be able to bring him down easily during that Electric Vortex. 2.5 seconds of very, very painful stuns as he long-range initiates. Now it looks like Guanzo plus Wisp going in to try to bring down Juggernaut. He has already expended Blade Fury, so he will take a fall here. Nice tether action, and now trying to bring down Bounty Hunter, but Jakiro popping off. He could have macro-fired. I honestly am surprised he didn't, but nevertheless he gets his dual breath off at the very least, and with the invisibility of Bounty Hunter, he will escape a nice black hole coming in from Blint. Going to try to bring down 2 really, really quickly. Eagle probably will drop down. No, he doesn't take a fall, and with that Stormhammer, Wisp lives on. Spear's trying to bring down the Enigma, and will do so as well as the Jakiro taking a fall to the decay. So beautiful action, extremely coordinated, and I love this Wisp player right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually fantastic play. And they're basically executing flawlessly. They're going into fights, and these are very risky fights. You know, you're fighting between 2 towers, you're fighting into a black hole, but just, you know, good control, and the fact that they have an item advantage right now is enough to just make them completely devastate the enemy team. I'm surprised we didn't see the Juggernaut just immediately Omnislash there, and I feel like he's been holding that a little bit too much. Yes, it's only level 1, but actually, this is you can't disjoint Stormhammer with something like Leap, but are you disjointed if you go into Omnislash?
Yeah, you're invulnerable, so nothing really can hit you whatsoever. I mean, pretty much can avoid any ability as long as you get it off in the first place.
Yeah, so then, you know, he had a position to go and just like dodge the Stormbolt with his Omnislash, and now he's going to get jumped on and feel real bad. Yeah.
Oh, that's so painful to watch. Just so much electricity flying around. I'm not sure. There was some debate if the lore of Wisp implies that he is electromagnetic or if he's like the weak nuclear force. But whatever he is, Storm Spirit definitely has a lot of electricity up his sleeve as well, burning him down. And now going for a broadsword. How do you feel about that? I mean, what do you think he could possibly build from that?
Whatever he wants, but it might be. So, but also, let's just take a look and watch a double damage Sven cleave down these creeps, because I always find that very satisfying. So he finished his BKB, he had no gold, and now he has 1500. Sven is a very fair hero. But, no, but in terms of that broadsword, I mean, like, maybe small crit? Like, again, though, it's just, I'm just going to look it up. So what does broadsword go into? Exactly. I don't think it's going to be a blade mail. I don't think it's going to be a... Yeah, so it's going to be small crit. But, I mean, it's an item you can get on Storm Spirit. He does have that Orchid, so he is attacking a lot. And Storm doesn't, right-click poorly. It's just that most of the time you just need a Hex very badly, but with an Orchid and the fact that he can be anywhere on the map with that Wisp's help, it might not be the worst idea just to go in for a little bit more DPS. Honestly, it might not also be a terrible idea. Well, no, okay. I always feel like, since I just played too much Windrunner with Battle Fury, and it looks like it's going to be Initiation.
Yeah, pretty good Initiation. I mean, Eosin has a lot of mobility with Warcry and Tether. He's just moving a mile a minute, but actually not wanting to engage further than that. They're playing a little bit cautiously. No, Undying has other things in mind. Kikoni pops off the Tombstone. There goes a nice action for the ball. Lightning with silence up on the Eosin as well as a beautiful Macropire. Burning down Guanzo really quickly. He does get the Stormhammer up. He still has his BKB available. There is some lines going on out, but it's not going to be a big deal. They bring down the Bounty Hunter almost immediately. Now Standing Crook needs to actually pop him off. He popped off his Omnisci for rank 1, but it didn't last very long. He was able to be dropped down immediately, and Wisp was able to bring down with the Spirits, pick Optic here on the back end of things. Now they're going to go rest on this tier 2 tower, try to bring it down. Nightstalker, I don't know what he thinks he's doing, but he can easily be picked off if Wisp gives the Storm Spirit any more mana, but it looks like he's just going to fall back, and that's going to be a tier 2 tower for them.
Yeah, I mean, this Wisp has been playing out of his skin. They're playing very aggressively, and this Undying has gone and managed to go and, just get that Tombstone maxed since we last saw him. And the range was enough to go and slow down the entire team and allow the Dire to catch up. Sven did die, but he didn't pop his BKB in that engagement, so he's still sitting at a 10 there, and he's finished his Mask of Madness. So it's going to be a very steep hill, I feel, for the Radiant to climb. But, we did see last game, if you can beat a Magnus with Refresher, then I believe they can beat through a lot of things. It's going to be hard, though, especially when you consider that Small Crate is, in fact, up on the Storm Spirit. He's got Orchid. He's right-clicking for a lot. I think he will be the Aegis carrier since, while Sven is probably going to do more damage, I feel that Aegis is just better on Storm Spirit, given the fact that he gets so much more out of the new mana, maxing his mana pool again, and since he's doing damage, since he has an Orchid, he's just going to bring a little bit more utility to the fight.
Yeah, and also if he ever gets picked off whilst carrying the Aegis, he can always ball lightning out of it immediately after. They don't have any time to stun him up unless they get like the Ice Path sitting right on top of his corpse. But one way or another, yeah, I agree with the sentiment you're forbidding there, generally speaking. But I feel the Sven at least could have popped off the BKB a little bit earlier in the fight and negated a lot of incoming damage, put out a lot more himself. But a victory is for sure a victory. Now there's a relocate going up on top lane. They want to go aggressive, and they stunned up a number of heroes. Now Black Hole goes on through. Enigma actually catches out both Wisp and Storm Spirit. He may drop down here, and that's where the Aegis will come into play. He has crit, and he does a lot of damage. Wow, Ultra Kill going on through those cleaves on the back end, completely ignored, and that's where Mask of Madness shines. So when people just say, okay, we're focusing on the Wisp, we're focusing on Storm Spirit, by the way, flying in across the board, and there's the Rampage coming up for Guanzo, locking him down, and my gosh, that was just so much damage to see with that Mask of Madness Sven. With his Great Cleave, was able to kill 2 people in one swing, and another one in a secondary swing. So just really, really quick succession of very powerful blows with that God Strength, maximizing his damage so much and just delivering the pain. So yeah, even
and it's only going to get worse. He didn't have crit that fight. He didn't have level 16. What are they going to do when he goes and picks up crit? When he picks up Daedalus and level 16 and just completely slaughters their team? They don't have enough to deal with him right now. This Juggernaut, he's sitting at drums and a band of Elven Skin. Like, he doesn't even have a Yasha. It's going to be so hard for them to deal with him in a direct fight. They're going to have to go for pickoffs. They're going to have to go and try to go and use that Bounty Hunter as much as possible. But against a Wisp, pickoffs aren't as safe as they would be in any other team.
Yeah, I mean, that Black Hole was amazing for tag. They got one of the best initiations they had all game long. They were able to pick up that Storm Spirit really quick and that Wisp, but the Aegis the Immortal negating a lot of the damage that they were able to do there, and of course Guanzo not being in that at all, just went to town and was able to deliver a real monster truck of hurt and was able to bring down a lot. And how they all are grouped up. They want to go aggressive, but the ultimates really aren't there. I mean, Macropire might be nice, but it's only rank 1. Now, actually, Shakira getting completely caught out in the trees. He will get picked off completely. Omni Slash going on through. Will bring down the Light of Least. He's peering on through, but the auto attack damage is available to defend any minute of the day. Now, he pops BKB immediately in response to the Crippling Fear. Pops off without strength, wants to chop. Huge crit going on through to bring down, actually, it's just base damage. Burning through. Double kill for him. Now going to Stormhammer up, and one more hit. That's going to be a triple kill for Guanzo, and just playing Sven as manly as he wants to.
Yeah, he just runs around, and then as soon as the Radiant feels like they're safe, he's like, oh wait a minute, I have a BKB, sorry guys, and proceeds to go and wipe them. And it just comes to the fact that they don't have the HP pool to deal with this. Fantastic laning by Eosin+4, and they're just just playing the lane very well. I don't think you can go and fault the Radiant very much right now because they've had good Ice Bats, they've had good Black Holes, but what do you do against this Sven? How do you go and deal with this Sven?
And it all comes down to the supports, how much they stacked up in the early game. Wisp stacking up those camps in the jungle itself, and the Keeper of the Light stacking up over and over and over, stacking up those Ancients. So yeah, getting up 1,500 gold in like 20 seconds. It's ridiculous how amazingly well he can get farmed, and it's just kind of the Luna style where you glaive it up, except obviously it's just going to be giving that much more GPM to him. So prior to the Rampage and I think the triple kill he got there, he was only sitting at like 1 or 2 kills, and now he's sitting at 9, 1, and 5. So he just went from he was a beast in the first place, but it's just going to get worse for them as all those that kill action. He's been farming amazingly well, and now he's going aggressive on the other end. But it was interesting because you have to remember this Sven came out of middle lane. In the end of it, it was Coddle and Sven on the mid putting that pressure out against the Night Stalker, and he just freely farmed. 156 last hits right now, and a lot of those are ancient creeps. So I just got to say, props to supports in general. Wisp playing out of his mind as far as positioning, control, stacking, and supporting, and then of course Rorgok keeping the mid lane under control and stacking up the Ancients. So I definitely gotta say, although we're seeing so much action from the Sven, seeing all those big rampages and looking really cool, it's gonna be the supports that in my mind are MVPs as far as setting him up for victory here.
Yeah, no, this Wisp is one of my, I'm just really impressed with this play. One other thing that he's been doing is he's been using his spirits to always have great vision in fights, and I think that's the least appreciated aspect of the skill. Or, well, no, I mean, everyone knows about it, but to use it that effectively is amazing, and it's really just great to see this hero being played at this kind of level. But, so, now, the question is, how do you come back from this? You can't really turtle because when they want to fight you, they can find you. They have a Storm Spirit and a Wisp. You can't really attack. You can't fight them right now because at this point in the game, you really just can't initiate on the Sven. So you just have to hope you go and kill people quickly enough and run away. You have level 2 tracks, so that's a good amount of gold. So you just have to kill and get out of there as quickly as possible, so you don't get sniped by that Sven and Wisp combo, or the Sven and Storm, or the Storm Spirit and Wisp combo, or just the Storm Spirit going from across the map.
Yeah. Just examining Tag's lineup independently from the game itself, it's all about the quick single pickoffs, get in, get out, just bring down somebody real quick with the track, and not have to worry about anything else. But unfortunately, they don't have that option based on this Wisp relocate. It just counteracts that aspect where you show up on the map by yourself and you are dead 5 seconds later. So their only course of action is to go in as 3, go in 4 or 5, and they can't win those engagements without the biggest black hole macro fire of their lives. And with that, that's even becoming less and less promising. So looking at the gold graph, looking at the experience graph, we've seen graphs like this before, but you have to realize this is only 25 minutes in. That steep decline where now it's about 20,000 gold in favor of the Dire, E4, Eosin, Steam in general, just playing out of their minds, and they have such an advantage that it's almost, I'm not going to say it's impossible. I mean, that last game that we watched kind of revolutionized my mind of what can actually come up as far as a comeback. But, I mean, with the action that's happening up on top lane, for example, I just don't see this shifting in favor of Tag anytime soon.
I mean, to put it in perspective, the Keeper of the Light, who is the lowest level on the Dire, is only 1 level behind the highest levels on the Radiant. The experience disadvantage is huge. And, oh, zap it, but no, not able to get the Orchid quite in time, and they're...
Yeah, that's a Day Dallas Storm Spirit.
Yeah, it's a no big Storm Spirit, whatever. So he's gonna go and, the Sven's gonna casually walk into their face, pop his BKB, and, force them to deal with
triple kill, 1 strike, ultra kill to follow it up. Only 1 was dropped down by anybody else. Storm Spirit picked up the Juggernaut, spoiling the party, but holy crap. That should be a dodge GIF of its own. That was just a monster truck hit. Dude, Lonzo.
It's so casual. He's like, oh, I guess I'll go into your base now. And oh, look, you're all dead. Sven is really showing why he is so powerful and why, teams are having to go and find ways to deal with him because it's just the amount of damage he puts out. These are good items. Daedalus, BKB, those are strong items. But God's strength is absolutely insane these days.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Daedalus crit it's RNG, but nevertheless, it's just when he can get that off, it's just it's magic in motion. It's just really, really crazy how much he can just obliterate anybody that's anywhere nearby. And that great cleave, of course, being a really good passive. It used to be you never even picked up cleave because your auto attack damage wasn't that reliable in that AoE fashion as the carry, and so you played him more supportively and you just went for some good initiation items, BKB and Blink, but that's not the Sven of today. That was Sven of yesterday, and now we are seeing how well it can be played on Eosin's lineup. So really, really good play to them. 2-2-1, a really interesting lane situation, but it all paid off for them, winning the mid, winning the top lane, and surviving well enough on the bottom to really deliver the final blow here